Good afternoon. My name is Keithond Manus, here at the Wiseman Life Recovery Ministry. Today I'm here to tell you a little bit about myself and where I come from, how God has entered my life and is making a way for me. My childhood, man, was pretty much what a kid could imagine. You know, I had both parents. My stepfather, from my understanding, from what I could remember, is he was a good guy. But what I didn't see behind the scenes was another story. I was raised in sports. I played football, played for the Duncanville Panthers. Life was good. It was real good. Until I started seeing the abusive side of my mother and father's relationship. I remember one time that it got kind of bad, and at a young age I had a run-in with him, and it got to the point where my mom was like, she had enough and she left him. So at that point she became a single mother, raising two young men on her own. I stopped playing football. I started hanging around with people that I knew that weren't any good for me. My conscience was killing me about it because I know my mom wanted the best for us. She raised us right. We were raised in the church. I was a choir boy. I got to doing things that my mom didn't agree with, the skipping school. I checked into night school, just to be closer to a job so she could keep an eye on me. I remember one time she told me, so you'd rather hang out with these guys that don't have a thing going on, you'd rather throw away your football dreams, which people were scouting and looking at me. At that point in my life, I was kind of lost. I was lost. I was broken. All my focus was on just me and doing what I wanted to do. Man, it got to the point where I started stealing cars, smoking weed. The church scene got further and further away from me. Things got out of hand, and my mom moved me to stay with my father, and I went to school out there, man, and I kind of started getting back into my goals and dreams, the things I wanted to accomplish. I got with the wrong group again, and things started going downhill again. My dad, he was a hard-working man. I loved the guy to death, man, and he did anything he could for me, and I'm really thankful that I had the opportunity to share a part of my life with him and to be a part of his. I started lying to him. He knew, but he was one of those type of fathers that when he speaks, and when he speaks, he means it. With my dad, I felt like I could do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. But honestly, I feel like he should have did a little more, because I probably wouldn't be in this situation that I am in now, to where my drug use progressed into this monster. The methamphetamines took me on a whole 360. Totally different from the marijuana scene. The people, the environments. Sad to say that I let a female introduce me to it, and I wasn't strong enough to say no at that time. So you could say that I gave in to the temptation that was thrown at me. I'm not trying to blame anybody else for my mistakes in life. it was all me. I chose to do all the wrong things instead of all the right things. That's why I'm here. I honestly felt like I was getting somewhere when I really wasn't. My life was slowly but for surely going downhill at a rate that I couldn't stop. I would talk to my mom on the phone sometimes, and it's heartbreaking when your parents can hear it in your voice, or they can see it in your facial features that you're not doing what you were brought in this world to be doing, and that's living for the Lord. I finally left the country, Marble Falls, and moved back to Dallas. Thought I had my head on straight. Before I moved back to Dallas, I had got out of prison. I did 2 years on a 4-year sentence for a possession-controlled substance charge. I called myself trying to sell dope for a minute, which really that took a bad turn. Something I should have never got into. But me being a young man, wanting extra money, or should I say worshiping money, I thought I could benefit from it. And it was helping to begin with. But as months passed, I realized that I was doing more than I was selling. And that's a problem. Anybody that's sold dope knows you're not supposed to do your product. And that was one of my biggest problems. So I got arrested. Gave me 4 years in prison. I had a good lawyer. My first offer was 25 years. And the lawyer came and told me, man, they're trying to throw the book at you. I believe at that point in my life, when I went back to my cell in the county jail, I started asking God, what am I going to do? My life's over. I've ruined myself. The lights went out, and I remember me getting on my knees by my bunk and asking God, okay, God, if you're real, if you're by any chance real, is there a way that you can pardon me from this 25-year sentence? And I promise I'll start living for you. And so the next week passed, and so that Sunday came up for me to get ready. That Sunday came up, and that Monday we was gonna have a trial. They called me out for a lawyer's call, and my lawyer told me I have some good news and bad news. And I told him I wanted the bad news first. He gave me the bad news. The good news is that they're offering you 4 years instead of 25. And I took that as God heard my prayer, and he said, I can't let you off. I can't let you off of this because this is a learning curve. I needed you to go through this. And you're gonna do it because this is what I've put in place. After this is over, you belong to me. Is what I kept hearing that in my head. You belong to me now. Go do your time. And you owe me. So I did my time and I got out and I tried to go back and establish myself in Marble Falls, but I came to realize that nothing was changed. I was on parole and I was still getting high, still sneaking and getting high. I became homeless in the streets of Dallas. I was so lonely. I was hanging out with people that would steal from me, and I was still hanging around with them, just to get high or just to have people around me. This is not a part of being a real man. I have two beautiful daughters, and I don't even know them like a father should, and that eats me up. I remember me waking up in a tent with a couple of friends, and I sat around and I looked at us, and I finally just spoke out, and I was like, what are we doing? And they all looked at me. One passing me the bowl, the other one passing me a bottle of liquor. And I sat back in my chair and I said, guys, what are we doing? We do the same thing over and over every day. And I finally said, do y'all actually think this is going to get us to the kingdom of heaven? And at that point, I heard a voice in my head say, tell them what you really want, KD. And I know it was God speaking through me. And I finally told him, I said, man, I can't do it no more. I'm tired. My heart's not into this anymore. It's getting me nowhere. I'm going to get help. And I suggest that y'all do the same thing unless y'all want to die out here. And I finally told him, I said, man, we're so better than that. God's told me that this is not what he has in store for my life. So I left. I checked myself into a program. I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I got here. All I knew is that I was going to have to be sober. And I was ready and willing to take that step in my life just to have a life. Since I've been here, man, I've learned in so many ways that I am loved by a higher power. I can be who I want to be. My faith has grown tremendously. I lean on this scripture almost every day. Jeremiah 29:11 says, I know the thoughts that I think for you. Thoughts of peace and not of evil. To give you a future and of hope. And since I've entered this program here at Wiseman Ministry, I'm gaining a future. I'm hoping for the best, and the best is happening right before my eyes. I look better. I have a peace of mind. I'm in my word more. I get good advice. And I'm amongst brothers that encourage you to keep going. Most importantly, what Jesus did on the cross for us, I owe him. And me being sober, being a productive member of society, staying in my word, being encouraged, being an encourager, that there is a way out of whatever situation that's holding you back from gaining your salvation. And I'm learning to encourage others to leave the past in the past. Let God handle all your fears. Lean on him and not my own understanding. I have so much gratitude for what he's done for me at this point in my life. He's turned my life around. I can honestly say that. And I will never forget this point in my life where I decided to say no to addiction and yes to the Lord. I know Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I will forever be thankful for where I've came from and what he's brought me through to the man that I am now and the man that he's building. He knows the plans that he has for me. And I know that it's plans to prosper me in so many ways.